crowd erupted in a deafening roar. Fans screamed, phones flashed, and a wave of energy filled the venue. Kirk Frost stood under the lights, smiling, shaking hands, playing the part of the calm celebrity. But then everything shifted. Out of nowhere, a figure lunged from the front row, slamming into Kirk and knocking him off balance. Gasps ripped through the audience. The cheers turned into chaos. Security guards froze for a split second, unsure if it was a prank or something far darker. The crowd's excitement turned to panic as cameras tilted and people screamed for help. A fan had crossed the line. Kirk stumbled backward, his hat falling to the ground, eyes wide with disbelief. Someone shouted, "Get him out of here," but it was already too late. The moment had been captured from every possible angle. Every phone was recording. Every flash immortalized the shock on Kirk's face. The attacker's voice pierced the noise, furious, trembling, and personal. "You ruined everything," he yelled, his voice cracking with rage. The words hung in the air like a curse. Kirk's mind raced. Was this some crazed fan, a setup, or something more? For years, his life had thrived on drama, but nothing could have prepared him for this. Within seconds, the entire event unraveled into panic. Security pushed through the screaming crowd as the man struggled violently, trying to break free. Kirk clutched his face, the taste of blood in his mouth, his heart pounding against his ribs. The music had stopped, the lights dimmed, and as the crowd scattered in confusion, one chilling realization hit everyone there: this wasn't random. It felt targeted, deliberate, and as Kirk staggered to his feet, the nightmare was only beginning. The venue erupted into pure chaos. Security finally pinned the man down, shoving him hard against the floor as the crowd screamed in disbelief. Phones were still up, recording every brutal second. The attacker kicked, shouted, and fought to break free, his voice echoing through the mic feedback. "Tell the truth, Kirk, you know what you did." His words cut through the noise like a blade. Kirk stumbled backward, dazed, blood trickling from his lip. He could barely hear anything beyond the pounding in his head. The cameras zoomed in, flashes blinding him, as guards hauled the man away in handcuffs. But the shouting didn't stop. "You can't hide forever," the attacker screamed, his voice fading as police dragged him outside. The silence that followed was deafening. Rashida rushed to Kirk's side, her heels clicking against the stage floor. Her face was tight with fear. "Kirk, are you okay?" she asked, gripping his arm, scanning his face for signs of injury. He wiped the blood from his mouth, forcing a weak nod. "I'm fine, I think." But even as he said it, his eyes darted toward the doors. The attacker's words echoed in his mind. Security formed a barrier between them and the shaken crowd. Fans were crying, shouting, recording, desperate to know what had just happened. Police sirens blared outside, the flashing red lights seeping through the venue's glass walls. Reporters were already gathering near the exits. Rashida leaned in close, whispering urgently, "Kirk, what did he mean?" "You ruined everything. Who was that man?" Kirk couldn't answer. His throat tightened. He didn't know if it was fear or guilt that made him go silent. Cameras kept rolling. Social media was already exploding. Within minutes, the clips would flood the internet, not as a performance, but as a scandal. And as Rashida held on to him, one thing was certain: the attack was just the beginning of something much bigger. Within hours, the footage spread like wildfire. Every angle, every scream, every frame of the shocking moment was online before dawn. Hashtags like Kirk Frost attack and Love and Hip Hop scandal trended across Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Fans dissected every second of the clip, pausing and replaying to analyze the attacker's words, his movements, even his expression. Some said it was a deranged fan seeking revenge. Others believed it was a staged stunt, another publicity move to keep Kirk's name alive after rumors of his departure from Love and Hip Hop. Conspiracy threads multiplied, claiming there were clues hidden in past interviews, cryptic posts, and deleted photos. Meanwhile, gossip blogs turned the story into fuel. Headlines screamed, "Kirk Frost attacked, what he doesn't want you to know." Comment sections turned vicious. Some defended him. Others celebrated the chaos, calling it karma for years of controversy. Through it all, Kirk stayed silent. No statement, no denial, just a single image of him walking out of the venue with blood on his face, now the most viral picture of the week. Rashida's expression in that same photo said it all: shock, confusion, and something close to fear. The internet wanted answers, but the truth was far more personal, and it had begun long before that night. Hours before the chaos, something in the air already felt wrong. The venue was packed with influencers, music execs, and longtime fans, yet the energy was tense, off balance. Kirk noticed it immediately. People whispered, stared, and pointed, not with admiration, but with judgment. Ever since talk of his exit from Love and Hip Hop began, he'd been avoiding public drama. But tonight, every look seemed sharper, heavier. Rashida had warned him earlier that day. "People are mad, Kirk, you should be careful," she'd said. He brushed it off, thinking she was being dramatic. But now, standing under the stage lights, he could feel it, the quiet hostility that only fame could bring. Near the back of the crowd, a small group caught his attention. They weren't cheering. They were watching him, focused still. One man in particular, late 20s, calm but intense, stared with an unsettling glare. Kirk's gut twisted. Something about the man's eyes made him uneasy. Then his phone buzzed in his pocket. He glanced down, unknown number, you shouldn't be here. His pulse spiked. He scanned the faces again, searching for someone who might have sent it, but everyone looked the same, camera flashes, fake smiles, phones in hand. The message burned in his mind. He showed no reaction, forcing a grin for the cameras. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe it was just another troll trying to scare him. Still, that sinking feeling refused to fade. Because deep down, Kirk knew this night wasn't just another appearance. Something was coming, and he wouldn't see it until it was too late. It happened fast, too fast for anyone to react. One moment, Kirk was laughing with fans, signing autographs, pretending everything was normal. The next, a blur of motion cut through the flashing lights. A man burst from the crowd, shoving past security, his face twisted with fury. There was no warning, just raw chaos. A single punch connected. The sound echoed through the room, a sharp, sickening crack that silenced everything. Kirk staggered back, clutching his face, blood running down from his lip. People screamed. Cameras dropped, then came the storm of movement, security lunging, fans running, the crowd breaking apart in fear. The attacker shouted over the noise, his voice shaking but loud enough for everyone to hear. "You ruined everything." "You lied," his words sent chills through the air. Every camera phone locked on him as guards wrestled him down. His struggle was violent, desperate. "Tell the truth, Kirk," he screamed again, spitting out the words as they pinned him to the floor. Police sirens wailed in the distance. Within minutes, officers were storming the venue, forcing the crowd back while trying to restore control. Kirk stood frozen, his pulse racing, his body trembling as adrenaline took over. Rashida appeared, grabbing his arm, her voice trembling. "Kirk, we have to get out of here." But Kirk didn't move. His eyes were locked on the attacker being dragged away. The man turned his head, his expression filled with rage and something deeper, betrayal. His final words cut through the noise like a whisper of doom. "You can't hide forever." Reporters swarmed the scene, flashes exploding again as Kirk was escorted toward the exit. Police blocked the doors, taking statements and bagging evidence. The music had stopped. The laughter was gone. Only confusion and fear lingered. And as Kirk looked down at his shaking hands, one thought clawed through his mind. Whoever this man was, this wasn't random. This was a message. By nightfall, the internet was in flames. Every gossip blog, every fan page, all replaying the attack in slow motion. Kirk scrolled through the chaos in silence, his phone buzzing nonstop. Hundreds of messages, most from burner accounts, flooded his inbox. Some were threats, others were cryptic warnings. "This is just the beginning. You know what you did." At first, he ignored them. Trolls were part of the game. But then one message froze him in place. It wasn't from a stranger, it was from someone he hadn't spoken to in years. The name on the screen made his blood run cold. "They're coming for you. Leave town." Now he read it again and again, trying to convince himself it was a prank, but the sender wasn't random. It was an old friend, someone who once knew everything about his past deals, his mistakes, his secrets. Rashida noticed his expression. "Who is it?" she asked, her voice shaking. Kirk turned the screen toward her, her eyes widened. "Wait, you're still in contact with him?" He shook his head slowly. "No, not in years. I don't know why he's messaging me now." The room fell silent except for the faint hum of his phone. Another notification buzzed, a new message from an unknown number. He hesitated before opening it. This time there were no words. Just a photo, a picture of Kirk taken at the event seconds before the attack. His breath caught. Someone was watching, and this was only the first warning. The drive home was tense, the kind of silence that feels heavier than shouting. Rashida gripped the steering wheel so tightly her knuckles turned white. The headlights cut through the darkness, but neither of them spoke for miles. Finally, she broke the silence. "Kirk, we need to talk," she said, her voice trembling with both fear and anger. "That man didn't just attack you, he knew you. What's going on?" Kirk rubbed his jaw, still sore from the hit. "I don't know," he muttered, staring out the window, but she wasn't buying it. "Don't do that," she snapped. "Don't act like you don't know. He screamed your name, Kirk. He said you lied." "What is he talking about?" He hesitated, the truth pressing at the back of his throat. Then his phone buzzed again. Another message, this one from the same old contact who'd warned him earlier. Rashida glanced over. "Who's that?" she asked. He reluctantly flipped the phone toward her. The name on the screen made her eyes widen. Jason Carter, she whispered. Wait, you're still in touch with him? Kirk shook his head, frustrated. No. I haven't heard from him in years. Rashidita's voice rose, filled with disbelief. Years or not, he's obviously back. You got attacked in front of the whole world and now he's messaging you. Kirk, what did you do? He leaned back, running both hands over his face. It's not that simple, he said quietly. Jason and I, we go way back, but whatever happened between us, it's over. Rashidita stared at him, her expression torn between fear and betrayal. Then why does it feel like it's just beginning? Her words lingered in the car, thick and chilling, as they drove through the night, unaware that their next stop would be the police station. The next morning, Kirk and Rashidita sat in a cold, fluorescent-lit room at the precinct. The hum of the overhead light was the only sound until the door opened and two detectives walked in, carrying a thick folder. Mr. Frost, one began, sliding into the chair across from him. We've identified your attacker. Kirk tensed. The detective flipped the folder open, revealing a mugshot, a face Kirk hadn't seen in years. His name is Jason Carter, the detective said. Rashidita's hand flew to her mouth. Kirk's pulse spiked. Jason, he whispered. You know him? The detective asked sharply. Kirk hesitated. We used to work together. A long time ago, the officer nodded slowly. From what we've gathered, Mr. Carter blames you for something, said you cost him everything. Kirk exhaled heavily, rubbing his temples. He made his own choices, he muttered. I warned him to stay out of it. The detective leaned forward. Out of what exactly? Kirk avoided Rashidita's eyes. Years ago, Jason got involved in some shady deals, money, business fronts, things that could have landed us both in trouble. I tried to walk away before it got ugly. But he didn't, the detective said flatly. Kirk nodded. He got caught, I didn't. Rashidita stared at him, horrified. You never told me any of this, Kirk's voice cracked. Because it was supposed to be over. He went away. I thought I'd left that part of my life behind. The detective tapped the folder. He's been off the grid for years. No job, no address, no social media. But last night he came straight for you. That doesn't happen by accident. Kirk swallowed hard, realizing the truth. Jason hadn't come for revenge, he'd come for closure and maybe more. The detective leaned back, eyes narrowing. Mr. Frost, if what you're saying is true, then this isn't just a fan attack. It's personal. And if he's not done with you, Kirk finished the sentence for him, his voice barely a whisper. Then he's coming back. The detective's grim nod said it all. And for the first time, Kirk truly understood. The past he'd buried wasn't just resurfacing. It was hunting him. Hours after leaving the station, Kirk and Rashidita returned to his office, hoping to find some sense of control. But as they pulled into the parking lot, Kirk froze. The door to his office was open. Not broken, not forced, just slightly ajar, as if someone had walked right in. Rashidita's hand flew to her mouth. Kirk, was it locked? Always, he said quietly. He pushed the door open, every instinct screaming at him to stop. The office was dark, eerily still. Nothing looked stolen, not at first glance. But right there in the center of his desk sat a single black envelope. No markings, no name. Rashidita whispered, "Don't touch it." Kirk ignored her and reached for it anyway. His hands trembled as he slid out a folded piece of paper. 4 words in red ink stared back at him. "This isn't over, Kirk." The room felt colder. Rashidita took a step back, whispering, "Oh my God," but before they could react further, Kirk's phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. He answered instinctively. Silence, then a deep, calm voice on the other end. "Enjoy the memories you have because soon that's all you'll have left." The call disconnected. The chill in Kirk's spine deepened. That voice, it had to be Jason. Before either could speak, a small package by the door caught their eye. Brown wrapping, no label. Kirk tore it open carefully. Inside, a USB drive. Rashidita hesitated, shaking her head. "Don't plug that in," but he already had. The computer screen flickered to life, revealing a single video file timestamped that same day. They watched in silence as the footage played. It was security camera footage, not from the office, but from outside their home. Rashidita gasped. The camera angle wasn't theirs. Someone else had installed it. The video showed them leaving the house earlier that morning. Moments later, Jason appeared in frame. He wasn't hiding. He looked directly into the camera, grinning, mouthing words they couldn't hear. Kirk froze, his heart pounding. Rashidita whispered the words as she read his lips. "You should have let me in." Kirk slammed the laptop shut, his breathing ragged. "That's it," he said. "We're leaving." And as they rushed out the door, the USB drive's light blinked one last time, recording their every move. The streets were dark and empty as they sped away, hearts pounding, adrenaline surging. Rashidita clutched her phone, whispering, "I'm calling the police." But before she could dial, her screen lit up, another message from an unknown number. It was a live photo of them, taken seconds ago from inside their own car. Her blood ran cold. "Kirk," she whispered. "He's watching us." Before Kirk could respond, headlights flared behind them, blinding fast, closing in. A car slammed into their rear bumper with brutal force, sending them skidding across the road. Tires screamed. Rashidita cried out as Kirk fought the wheel, but the other driver didn't back off. He rammed them again, harder, trapping them. "Jason," Kirk shouted, gripping the wheel as metal ground against metal. The sound was deafening until the final impact flipped their car onto its side. Glass shattered. The world went dark. When Kirk opened his eyes, sirens blared in the distance. He turned to see Rashidita groaning, dazed but alive. Red and blue lights flickered through the smoke as officers pulled them from the wreck. Kirk Frost, a familiar detective, said grimly, "You're lucky to be alive." Kirk's voice was barely a whisper. "Did you catch him?" The detective's expression darkened. "No, he was gone before we got here." Kirk looked out into the night, heart sinking. Jason wasn't finished. He was just getting started.